Now your book, which I have right here, got on Amazon as well. I know you can't see it when it's doing these ones, but it's there. I can only show it if it's in front of me. But Irreversible Damage. I wanted to know, you're an author. You write for the Wall Street Journal. Why would you put yourself out there and write about something that you are not allowed to talk about?
Everybody asks me that. It's so funny. So part of the reason I did this, first of all, a reader wrote to me. A reader read a piece of mine, and she said she had written to all kinds of other journalists. She was trying to get someone to take this issue on, but her daughter had gone off to college. The girl had had anxiety and depression and other mental health issues, but she had always been a very girly girl, very feminine, and had boyfriends and whatnot. And all of a sudden in college, she decided with her friends that she was transgender and was starting a course of testosterone. And the women told me there are a lot of women like her, who a lot of parents just like her are experiencing the same thing with their daughters. And of course, I found out she was right. There is an epidemic across the West of these young teenage girls who do not seem to have traditional gender dysphoria, but they decide with their friends, often after social media immersion, that they're trans and they want hormones and surgeries. I tried to get another journalist, an investigative reporter to take it up, and I couldn't do it, is the short answer. And I think it's a real phenomenon. I'll tell you that it wasn't personal for me, and that's part of the reason I was able to write about it. That was sort of a lot of the reason. I have trouble writing about some issues that are too personal, but in a way, because it wasn't personal at all, it wasn't hard to write about. I didn't have any preconceived ideas.
But perhaps that's like a really important part of it too, because you have so many people that you're, and this isn't the best way to describe it, but you're speaking against, if you will, like the Twitter storm and the people who would be very much against your writing. Those people all seem to have skin in the game. They all seem to have it personally affect them, or it's directly in line with their political alliance, or it's what they need to believe. For someone who, as for me, spends a lot of time on the internet for my job, is it clear? Is the statistics there that more and more people are becoming gender dysphoric, or they have gender dysphoria, or are becoming transgender? Is that running with the times, or is it more commonly reported now?
So the numbers are it's certainly the case that more people are asking for hormones and surgeries. We can just see that. We can also see that more people are identifying as transgender. And we can also see that it's hitting a demographic we've never seen before in the entire 100-year history of gender dysphoria diagnosis, and that is teenage girls. This is a population. Remember, this is an ailment that always afflicted boys, male men and boys, and it began in early childhood. And for the first time in history, it's overwhelmingly affecting teenage girls, and it happens to be the very same population that that finds themselves in the grips of every other hysteria, from anorexia to multiple personality disorder. These things that girls magnify in each other by spreading their pain and self-diagnosing with a problem. And earlier generations of girls said, "Oh, I'm so fat. If I were just less fat, I'd be happy." And today they say, "Oh, I'm so gender dysphoric. If I was a boy, I wouldn't be so unhappy."
Yeah, I'm someone who had an issue with panic attacks for about 2 years, and the big thing for me was desperately trying to find an answer. And I mean, maybe this is just a layman's way of looking at the whole situation with transgenderism, but is this just young people trying to desperately find an answer to cure their problem?
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. So when we're it's easy. You get a cut on your arm and you sort of, think what the answer is, but you feel a mental distress, a psychological distress. It's hard you really want to find the answer. And the problem is it's very hard. And usually you would go to a mental health professional and they would give you a diagnosis. But today, first of all, they've been so corrupted by this, affirmative care, which means they have to agree with the patient's diagnosis. And these young generation of girls are going online, and everything they're seeing are these influencers who tell them the problem is that they should be a boy, and they're believing it.
Hmm.